consent for the agenda. No, yes. No.
Okay, I'm going to call the Bedford Charter Township Board meeting to order at 7 o'clock. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of reflection.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk Baracco here. Treasurer Miller.
Here.
Trustee Hires.
Here.
Trustee Beamish.
Here.
Trustee Greenwood.
Here.
Trustee Dingman.
Here.
6 present. We have a quorum. I make a motion to have Trustee Beamish chair the Township Board meeting, and I'll take a voice vote on that.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so item 5, approval of the February 8th, 2024 agenda. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve the January 8th, 2024 agenda as submitted. That's so moved. Support. Any alterations, anything? Anybody needs to? The date is correct there. Any discussion, Mr.
Clerk Baracco, yes. Treasurer Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Hyatt?
Yes.
Trustee Beamish?
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood?
Yes.
Trustee Dingman?
Yes.
6 yes, motion carries.
Item 6, approval of the January 11th, 2024 minutes. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve the January 11th, 2024 minutes as submitted. You guys have those in your pack? I so move.
Support.
Anything on that? Whenever you are.
Clerk Baracco, yes. Treasurer Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Hires?
Yes.
Trustee Beamish?
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood?
Yes.
Trustee Dingman?
Yes.
6 yes, motion carried.
Public comment time on agenda items only. So we got a lot of stuff in the agenda tonight. If you've got something you want to speak about, limit it to 3 minutes. Rules are available in the lobby if you need them. Please conduct yourself appropriately, and whoever wants to speak, come up to the podium. Mr. Newman, can you slide that thing out? Anyone?
So a couple of things on the agenda. I guess number 11 under unfinished business, we're talking about continued recommendations for the recycling plan. I looked over the superintendent monthly report. It says that we're no longer going to be providing the service for the same reasons that we all understand about. And then it says in there another option that's under investigations for all residents of the township to have monthly residential curbside pickup. That's concerning to me. I really feel like we kind of just threw our hands up there and didn't try one thing to remedy the problem out there, other than stopping the locking of the bin and just the oversight. So I look forward to hopefully hearing some different recommendations from the board and discussion on that. But in regards to the action plan, specifically the residential curbside pickup, I'm not sure how that would work. I know other townships have an ordinance where they require that if you switch services or whatever, that can be anywhere from $10 to $15 a month cost to the residents, and that's obviously done via ordinance, is my understanding. So I mean, that would be, I would not want that forced on me as a resident. So I'm not sure where that discussion came from there in the action plan, but I look forward to hearing some stuff about that. The second thing that I'd like to also reference in the action plan is, looks like we've got revised scheduled for February trainings and 2 90-minute sessions, and then the website will be launched in March. We can go back and pull the action plan and superintendent report in December. We're supposed to have those scheduled and the website launched. I know that you can solve check registry, we paid BC3 a lot of money already. So I'm just I'm hoping to get some clarification over on our website, or, you know, be launched, and what the goal is and why we're doing that. Just within the board discussion. I think it's kind of important. I do talk to residents a lot, and they kind of wonder what's going on with those things. Thank you.
Anybody else public comment on the agenda? Mr. Knight.
So, you're planning to hire someone who just sued their previous township that they worked at. You guys know this. I don't know why anyone would hire somebody who just sued their previous employer and didn't even win because of anything that got done truthfully or finalized. It was done because of an insurance decision to not go any further. The only reason that he received a letter of recommendation from that previous employer is because in his settlement, number 10 states, they were required by their settlement agreement to give him a letter of recommendation from their employer. How are you to question who you're gonna hire before more taxpayer dollars get given to someone unjustly? Because that's what we have going on here, is we have you all looking to hire someone who was also brought to that other organization by the same gentleman here. Claims he's not gonna have any part of it. But he did. So, you all have the decision, but you guys obviously, we know you don't make some of the right decisions like you should. But I ask that you do. At once, someone speak out. It should happen. Yeah. You know, lawsuits against the township. How many lawsuits have happened in this township since I left here? If we can compare each supervisor's reign, we call it reign because that's what it's been. Tyrannical reign since I left. One by one increasing in severity. Nothing but lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. You guys just setting yourselves up for another lawsuit. So. We are, but with the person on the agenda, the person I'm talking about.
Just like, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else wish to address the board on agenda items? Mr. Mikey?
Mr. Mikey, you know, when I hear the townships looking to hire somebody, I always kind of look on the internet nowadays, because there's a lot of information out there. And this particular gentleman that you want to hire for this position, it's resolution 2/8/2416. He's got a pretty good track record. Just simple things, and some pretty serious things. It's the simple things that really bother me, because it's not paying car insurance, it's driving without a license, which that would affect working in the township. Maybe you guys should look into that, maybe you already have, but 4 pages, 10 items on each page. You know, some of them go back a ways, but that follows you, that's your history. You know, and I have to agree with Adam on this one about the lawsuit. we're setting ourselves up for possibly another lawsuit. You know, he's gonna be dealing with a lot of people out in the public. We gotta have this person be responsible, you know? And if they can't even pay the bills or stay out of the court system, I don't know, afraid what could happen in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Anyone else wishing to address on agenda items? Mr. Weezy?
I just got one thing, I'm looking at this thing as far as the resolution for the roof repair. And I was looking in the packet, I don't see any estimates from any of it. And I know big jobs like that, we're supposed to get 3 estimates, not just award a contract to somebody. So I'm wondering if that just got left out of the packet, or if that's something that needs to be looked at before we pass the resolution to spend $6,400. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to talk about agenda items? Like we have none. Item 8, you guys have your communications. Pretty cut and dry there. Officer LaValley is off today, but Officer Phillips is here. Got a brief presentation for us.
So I know these local people want to hear this information, but more than anybody, I'm sure you do. Officer LaValley, you might be glad to hear, is in negotiator training right now. She's going to be a hostage negotiator, and it's going to be a great asset, not just to the police department, but to the community as well. Right? So I do have some bare bones statistics. I was unfortunately yesterday tied up on some calls, trying to get some drunk drivers off the road, and as a result, I'm not as well prepared as I'd like to be. Looking through our statistics though, the thing that we're finding the most is accidents. And I can say from personal experience that people coming down, especially down M37, right, they're hitting a lot of deer. I've taken more car deer accidents in this month alone than I have for the entirety of the year. So watch for deer, and the vast majority of our traffic stops are for headlights. So it's kind of hard to see the deer when you don't have headlights. So if you see someone without a headlight on, let them know. I mean, a lot of us don't know when your lights go out, right? Our next calls for service are mostly alarms. I don't think we've had an alarm that was a valid alarm for the entirety of the time, but make sure you're doing maintenance on your alarm systems if you have them, because they have a tendency to go faulty, and then when keep on getting repeated alarms, we'll keep on coming and checking, but I'm sure you don't like to set it at your door either. Taking a lot of traffic stops, and beyond that, our vast majority of our issues are domestic troubles. Those are all from drinking and fighting. There's not much we can really do to combat that, but try and make sure that everyone gets home and separates, or does whatever they need to be safe. A couple notes from what's going on in the community that are some highlights. We had a large amount of B&Es up around the Stephanie Cross and Snow area. If you live over there, keep your doors locked, keep your cars locked. If you have any yard equipment, leave that inside. That's mostly what's being targeted and being stolen. We're working on it, and we're hoping that will result in the next little while. Beyond that, we're having some issues up in Berry County where people are stealing cars out of the city of Battle Creek, not out of Bedford Township. They're driving up into Berry County, doing B&Es, and then driving back here. If you see anything along M37 coming south, that might be it. People are driving 100 miles an hour down M37, 3 o'clock in the morning, being chased by Berry County. And this city, our policy doesn't allow us usually to chase those things. So they're coming back home, and unfortunately they're coming through Bedford Township to do it. So you see a whole bunch of us and a whole bunch of lights and sirens. I mean, if you can pull off to the side of the road, do it, please. And if you can pull off even better into a parking lot to get off the roadway, definitely do it, because 100 miles an hour is a little bit hard to control in a Kia. Does anybody have any questions that maybe I can answer for them?
Actually, I do. I got a neighbor, she's 80-some-year-old widow. and we've had kids, I don't know, like 14 years old, I guess. They're on their bicycles and stuff, but they stop up and ask me a lot for odd jobs, because they don't see me up cutting wood, but I don't trust any liability for a kid. But they've been asking, she's had a couple different ones, ask her to use her bathroom. I said, absolutely never open your door.
So
She asked me if she should call the cops, and I said, of course, but I don't know the.
There's not much we can really do other than ask them to politely just stop bothering people. But definitely don't let kids in here. And that's from prior experience. We did have a beanie recently where, well, not a beanie, we had a larceny where some young gentlemen asked to go into a lady's house, and as a result they stole her purse and some
Yeah, I told her back in the day they would knock on people's doors to use the phone. I gotta call my mom or something like that, but now nobody believes that one.
Yeah, so they're trying, hey, can I use the bathroom? Can I do some yard work? So just be careful of that, but I mean, use your judgment too. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I used to rake and mow lawns for a little bit of cash too, right? So if they appear to be kids who are trying to make some money and, you know, start a career of having a good work ethic, then use your personal judgment. Be careful. You know, if you're going to do that, definitely.
6 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, it's kind of late to be asking.
Yeah, especially in the winter when it's dark out.
Anyway.
Thank you.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
I live on Snow near Stephanie, and I'm curious when and what was broken into and what was taken.
So, like I said, I'm a little bit less prepared than I would like to be. It's been over the last month specifically. There's been a couple of garages stolen or broken into where things like leaf blowers, weed whackers, stuff like that have been stolen. Specific dates, I don't really have them for you. But if you're the type of guy who doesn't get into your garage very often, like I know I don't think I've opened the thing in like 6 months. You know, get into your garage, check, make sure all your items are there, and if for any reason you think that you're a victim of a larceny, please call in and we'll come and help you investigate it, and we'll add it to our list of things that we install.
Thank you.
Of course.
Chief, do you have a fire report this week, this month? Not time for your presentation, but you've got, you want fire stats and stuff?
Yeah, you're ready.
Not for your presentation, just for like your normal fire report.
That's your normal butter, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That ain't gonna take long.
Alright, fire when ready.
Right now, we've got 101 runs since the 1st of January. Most of them are medical runs and stuff. Ever since we started 2 years ago and stuff, medicals are just out coming. Their total calls for last year, runs and stuff was a little over 1,000. We were less than we were a year before that. We are going to be looking toward another truck engine to be fit in the #1 station up there. We are moving a little on it, looking to see a mini pumper that would fit in there right now. Because we're married to that station, the doors, they're only 8 foot by 9 foot, and grants are coming up where we'll be looking to file a grant, seeing if we could get some money for an engine temporarily to put into there so that we'll have a better line of engines in there than what we've got right now. I have one engine in there right now. It's a 1979 engine. It pumps good and everything, but I won't let anybody drive it out on the road. I keep it right in the village for a case of a structure fire. I can have it get there first on it and stuff. I've had too many close calls with the engine, the brakes going out on it and stuff, and one of them was when I was coming down Morgan Hill one time. So I just keep it in the station 1, but I would like to get another smaller engine to be put into there temporarily until we move on station 1 situation. So that's what we're looking at right at this point. So.
Thanks, Chief. Legislative intergovernmental relations, Mr. Hosmer, I see you're here tonight.
Sure, thank you, Trustee Danish, and other members of the board. I'm Jim Hotzma, I'm the state representative from the community. We haven't passed a lot of bills so far in 2024. The leadership of the Democratic and Republican parties haven't been able to get together to agree to pass even non-controversial bills this year because of the 54-54 split in the House upon a couple Democratic caucus members winning elections back in November in their respective communities of Warren and Westland. So I'm pleased to report that we actually had some movement on some non-controversial bills, a couple by Republicans and one by a Democrat. They both came out of committee with unanimity. We passed those yesterday, so I'm hopeful that in comparison to Tuesday, when we couldn't pass a Republican bill because the Democrats were all supporting it and the Republicans were all voting against it, and we had that same phenomenon back 2 weeks before. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to act on some non-controversial bills and do the service of the people going forward. The governor announced yesterday her 2024-5 budget proposal, and that's the opening salvo of a long negotiations process. Since I've been there, we've been able to negotiate all these, even during the pandemic in 2020, to get accomplished relatively early. I think it was later in 19, it was not as late in 20 as 19 to the best of my recall, but the last 4 years we've been able to do that by July 1st. So I'm hopeful we'll be able to accomplish that by July 1st and even earlier in relation to education budgets, so that public K-12 educators will have a good idea on how they go forward and plan for the autumn 24, winter 25 semester. Any questions if you have any?
I do. You have not been present since the state got involved in solar farms. We did implement a solar ordinance. The planning commission worked very hard on that. I know it's kind of a contentious thing in Calhoun County, Berry County, and surrounding areas. My understanding is it's something that you voted for. Can you explain to the residents why the state is not involved in that?
Well, I wasn't supportive of that initially, Trustee Greenwood, because of the fact it was just announced on August 30 last year by the governor in a What's Next speech. And I was not supportive of it initially, but in the legislative process, which evolved between August and November 8 and 9, I think we voted on that on the 8th of November. It might have been late in the evening. There were a lot of additional supports for local government in comparison to that which had been presented initially. I ultimately decided that comparing the pluses and minuses of the proposed legislation, that we need now some opportunity to change up the energy policy of the state, and from my perception, of affirmative vote, given what we were able to extract in relation to concessions, was the right way to go from the big picture public policy. Thanks for the question. And I'll tell you, I haven't been here in part because I've been late, I think, in December from someplace I was. It wasn't in session. And in January, I was at a neighborhood planning council in Battle Creek and was trying to get here from that.
We've been in transition, so I know some of the reports were taken off the agenda. That wasn't an occasion for anything.
No. I would have liked to have been in two places at one time in January, but I was there and they lasted longer. By the time I think I pulled up here, but you guys were all done relatively early from my experience in 23, by sometime around 8:58. Thank you.
I got one question. Do you know anything about that, the principal residence, the property taxes? There's like a petition coming. I saw the little article, the MTA put out something and said that people were petitioning to remove the property taxes completely. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I've heard of it. I don't think it has a good chance of having sufficient signatures to put that on a ballot or pass. But there's a lot of stuff that bubbles up in Lansing that presented and we hear some news bite about it and we never hear of it again because it never gets past committee. But this is a petition, a referendum-like proposal, and I don't think that has a very good chance of acquiring the requisite signatures from Michigan citizens or passing, because I'm not sure what alternative source of revenue would exist if there were no more real property taxes for fundamental units like counties and townships.
Right, there are other states that do it already, so it's not a new thing. You wouldn't be trailblazing by any means. Normally in other states, they'll raise the sales tax. Maybe we're at 6, maybe we go to 10. But, I mean, I can't imagine anybody not signing it. So I'm under the opinion if you were to ask anybody on the street if they wanted to get rid of their property taxes, sign this, you might be like 10 for 10. So I think that's kind of I think it's hotter than you think.
I think it's poor public policy, and I definitely think the tax that would replace it would be a regressive tax, which would impact upon people with lower incomes much more substantially than what we have presently.
I'm going to counter that again. Usually people are trying to pay their property tax, and it's really hard to do. Now, if that's gone, they don't have to worry about that. And what they do have to worry about is their day-to-day operations. In other words, I'm just trying to say that if the money was in their pocket, they could choose how to spend it. But like, they don't even have a chance to choose how to spend that money. And if they didn't have the money to spend, they wouldn't spend it.
There would have to be a significant overhaul of local government if some provision like is being espoused by this petition drive you speak of were to pass. I don't think it will. I think enough people would think it poor public policy that they wouldn't sign on. You and I are just going to agree to disagree on that issue. I know how difficult statewide petition drives are. And I also think that there would be more people who would vote against it than vote for it if it made, in fact, a ballot proposal level. But thanks for asking me these questions. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Mr. Prisby?
Just a little bit of business at the county. Of course, in December we did pass our balanced budget, as we're required to pass a balanced budget. But one of the things we were able to do is the state has requested that all counties and entities, and you're probably part of it, increase their general fund balances that are available and unrestricted. With the increased costs, it seems that we're all getting into those balances on occasion, some of us, to be able to pay bills and avoid borrowing, but there's quite a few folks that have had to borrow to keep operations going. So the state treasurer has requested everybody raise it between 18 and 22%. We were at about 12%. And in this year's budget, we're able to start off, we're going to take it slow and go as we go, but put about $500,000 into the fund balance specifically to raise that percentage. We don't borrow a lot of money. The money we do borrow is typically tax time, where we're making all the local entities whole, and the treasurer is borrowing money just to keep all of our investments invested, and he's doing well with those investments, so we leave those alone. Kate Ambrose was named the corporate counsel for Calhoun County, and she comes from the court system. She was a court administrator within the courts here in Calhoun, and she's already started and hit the ground running. So it's good to have a replacement on board. Jim Dyer retired essentially from Calhoun County. He moved to Northview or Northport, I can't remember which town it is. It's on the Leelanau Peninsula. And became a village manager in a quaint little town. So he's stepping back in responsibility and effort required, but not walking away from the workforce, but moved up north. So I'm glad to have Kate on board. Any questions for me?
Just so I had that number correctly, you said 18 to 22%?
That's what they're wanting us to do. Yeah. I did have one other. We were able to carry about $500,000 forward from last year's road department budget When people are out doing the snow dance, I do the anti-snow dance, so that we can save dollars every time there's a snowstorm. It costs us, dollars to bring in plow truck operators on overtime. Have to buy salt and blades to replace for all that. We only really had one or two so far, snow events. But the carryover from last year's budget was around $500,000, and therefore we're able to fund even more of the projects that were submitted on the local requests. So if the winter continues to be as mild as it has been, we'll probably be even able to put a little bit more and get even more of that list pared down with meeting those needs of local communities. Any questions for me?
Do we have over $500,000?
No. No. You were in the scoring matrix. I think you got a project. I believe it was. So, if there's a scoring matrix that we use, just so we get the highest priority projects completed, and they're all over the county. So, it's based on the dollars that we have. All right. Thanks.
All right, this time, the fire department has a presentation about the condition of Station 1. We've got
we're gonna have some fun here. We're gonna talk about #1 station. How many of you have been by that lately out there in the past few days or months? Stuff, seen the condition it's in and stuff like that there. Sad situation. Fire department started back in the early 30s. And what they done is they had a post on the corner there of Hutchinson and Edmonds with a bell on it. When the bell rang and stuff, people in the area could hear the bell ringing and stuff, then they come to that post with their buckets, and then they got in the vehicles and they went to wherever the fire was with that. In 1933, they decided they wanted to build fire trucks. One was built right there on the curve. It used to be a hotel and a garage right there, here where the car dealer is right now on 37. They had a 1925 Lincoln car with 8-cylinder, 200 gallons of water, spoke wooden wheels, and they would travel at about 70 miles an hour. So that's what they used to fight fires with then for quite a while. 1937, they built the #1 station out there in Bedford, and they still had some of the built trucks they built were in there and stuff until they acquired some new fire trucks and stuff. So that was built, like I say, in 1937. The township is 187 years old as of this year out here and stuff. So been here a long time. Well, what we're looking at now is the station out there is in bad shape. There's a lot of walls that are cracking. There's a lot of rotten area around the windows, doorways and stuff. The upper storage is condemned already. A sign was put up in there in 2017, as you will see, that it has been condemned for 6 years. The down part of it is I have a grass truck out there, small rig that drives fighting fires and stuff, and sometimes putting out car fires. I have an engine in there that's a 1979 engine. I keep it in that station because I won't let anybody else drive it because I've had too many close calls with it, with the brakes going out on me and everything like that. So I use it in the village only. In case I have a house fire there, I can get there. I have 500 gallons of water on that, so I get there, if I could put water hose and I can get it out before one of these other stations show up and stuff. I have a boat motor that's in there that for us, for the lakes and stuff and there here we have and stuff at this time. That's the only things I have into there and stuff, but we get into the situation is, you can see the condemned sign was put up there and second floor only back in 2017, 6 years ago, and nothing was done with that. Well, I found out lately that 3 years ago, contact was made with a company about doing some about that building and stuff out there. Yeah, so, and it never got back to us on it because of some problems that was with the township or with the company here, and I met with them here 2 weeks ago, and they apologized because of not getting back with us, but now we are with them. We are starting to gonna be moving on the situation, but what I wanna do here is just show you people and stuff, the condition of this building. You look at the building now, and you see that siren that's way up there on the top over there, left-hand side. That's a federal tower. That's a warning for bad weather or if we're under attack. That's been up there for over 50 years. And it still works. First Saturday of every month, if you're in the village area and stuff, you will hear that siren at 1 o'clock going off on you. And it'll run for better than 3 minutes, and you wonder if it's never going to shut off. But it has to be out in that area, so it's gonna have to go up and buy that new station if we have one built and stuff. We're looking at, on that south side of that driveway and that station right over there, we can end up and build a new station. We've got the room, Township owns that over there. This is the driveway going up to the bay first front facing M37 right there. You can see the concrete and all and everything is going out, coming out, and makes it hard for plowing and everything else into there. The two big doors right there and stuff, right there where the top portion of them, they hitting the rocks, there's about a 1-inch gap where the sill on both doors are dropping down and stuff from the stone area. That little door way over to the left right there was a door to go into the office. And it had to be boarded up because the frame and all was falling out. This is a sign out front telling you where I was born September 1, 1937. See the bottom portion of the window right into there? It's rotting in out. The top sill right up into there is rotting out real bad on it. You got 10 of these windows all the way around the station. They're all bad. Wall cracking. That's brick. That's the upper portion. That does not have the stone on it. The bottom portion is stone and then brick on the inside. This is brick. You can see where it's cracked and going up the wall right there.
And might I add, when we went in from the interior, you
There's
can
another
see the
window
light
right there.
coming in through the crack.
Bad shape. See the gap at the top? This is the vent that comes out from the furnace that's in the brick base first floor right there. So there's a big gap opening on the right hand corner right there, setting down there, so you're losing heat going right on outside because it's not been filled through. This is another window. See the top sill part of it's gone already, falling off and everything on the window frame still. This here, you can see the crack way up the top of that window right there. It goes right on up to the roof, through the brick right there. This is the back of the building, the cemetery entrance office there to the far right, but this is 2 windows and a doorway that used to go into the kitchen area in there and stuff. They're all falling apart, had to be boarded up. Good place for birdhouses to come up. This is on the back side. See all the black mold and stuff that's coming down? That's from the drain coming off of the roof. That's coming down, a lot of it's leaked and went into that top window, which is upstairs. It's leaked into there in that kitchen area up there. It's come down the wall into the kitchen in the main floor down there. And that's all black. Well, I'm down there going stuff into that. See the mold right there, the green mold, the back right there, it's come down from the wall. It's on the outside right there. Inside that kitchen there was black mold on the wall and stuff. I think somebody cleaned it up a little bit in there, but that's a no-no. Look how bad that sill is right there in the window. See the crack, it goes right up center, goes right on up, right up the wall, right to the bottom window right there, and then it goes up top there. You can see everywhere. See how it follows right up, goes right up. This is up there in the kitchen area. That's the floor upstairs up there. That I can tell you is asbestos, I know it is, because it's been up there probably over 40, 50 years. I had to go to school for 1 week to learn to remove asbestos when I worked in the factory and stuff. And that stuff is breaking up, faking up. Every time anybody walks up and around in there, you're flaking up little dust in there. That's asbestos in the air you're gonna be breathing and stuff. That's in the kitchen area on the second floor up there, kitchen. This is up there on the second floor and stuff. You can see where the ceiling is falling off in there because the water damage from the roof has come down on the there and soaked it and dropped off the ceiling, and it's got blowed in its celluloid up into there and stuff. And you can see the water damage on the rafter, some of it right up into there where it's down. This is upstairs. I don't know why that outlet was pulled away from the wall and stuff, but that line right there is hot. You grab it, you're gonna get juiced. This is upstairs in the bathroom up there, because back in the early 60s and through up to about 80, there was people, a family that lived in that station. All fire calls would come into that station. They'd have to set the siren off and then set their plectrons off into our houses so we know where to go and stuff. His name was Manny Black, and he lived in there for a long time, taking all the calls until they went and took him down to the police station, the calls, and then from there, the police station just went into Marshall. All your This is the bathroom upstairs that they used to have. This has been vacant for 40 years up that stairs. There's nobody living in there. This is falling off the walls upstairs in the bathroom. This is another asbestos tile down on the first floor, and it'll go to the basement and then into the kitchen area. It's asbestos. This is upstairs in the bathroom. No light fixture on that at all. Those wires are hanging down right up there, and they are hot. You don't want to grab a hold of them. This is the upstairs in there. This is where we used to have Christmas parties. I can remember as a kid back in the 40s and stuff and 50s, we had Christmas parties up there. They had rented out that hall out there. The kitchen is right in the back in there. When they had a police department, we used to have breakfasts up there and stuff. They'd get a deer and stuff, and they'd have it all ground up, and we'd have sausages and ham eggs with the fire department and police department when they had the police department out here and stuff. But that's the kitchen way back there. That's where the asbestos is in there. All that ceiling tile was gone down because of leakage on the roof and stuff years ago and stuff. You can see right here, see the stain down the wall and stuff into there, ceiling is dropped. You still got that cellulose up there with the drywall and all that stuff. This is another that bathroom area. It shows an overall view of it and stuff. This is down in the basement. Those two tanks down there are oil tanks. About 250 gallons each one of them stuff. A few years ago, a hot water heater split down there. Flooded the whole basement. Filled it right up there to the rafters and stuff. When one of the township boys found it, water was just about ready to come out the doors on the barrier area. We had to shut the water off, and we had to pump hundreds of gallons of water out down the street down there, down the empty dump. Those two tanks had water in them too, mixed with some oil. We got quite a bit of stuff out of there, but right now I've probably got some oil in there with water mixed. New furnace is in there now because the old furnace was underwater and stuff, so they had to put a furnace back in there so that they had to heat it within the building there. This is a better close-up look. See, you can see how rotten the sills and stuff is getting around some of the windows and stuff. This is down into the kitchen area on the first floor, right where the cemetery office is now. They go into, this is that back wall. Remember I showed you that picture where all the black was coming down the wall and stuff? The water's got into there. It has rotted all that wood on that back side of that wall and stuff. And there's nothing there now but stone you look at now, and it's insulation that was put there. There's some more shots of it right in there. It shows on the covered, back of the covered area. You just, one mess. There's no wood or anything back into there. Stuff and just rotted all the way. This is another happy thing. This is a hose put on the bathtub that was upstairs. The bathtub upstairs filled up with water when a roof leak one time. That line was plugged, so it couldn't drain on out. So they hooked the hose onto there. And the hose went down to the sink. And I said, stuck for the, good hookup. It worked, so it drained, kept water out of the tub for a long time. That back wall right there, back of there, was mold on there, but they cleaned it. But you can see back in this corner of the kitchen, that's where it's all rotted and come down the wall and stuff. Now, I think that floor in there, if that's tiled in on that floor, that's asbestos too. This is the wall window that's blocked off from outside right now. The back of the cupboard where that wall is all rotted down through there. That was black mold up onto that walls right in there. It's been washed down. There's a hookup where we're hooked up over here. See there, got a rod in the wood, it just falling right in. I don't think there's termites in there, but I wouldn't count on it. This is downstairs, a little there, the first floor right into there. That is that archway right there. You can see where it's dropped about a ½ inch away from where the brick is, right up into there. And that's a support wall for all those 2x10s coming across in the center to support some things. This is downstairs in the cemetery office, is right there and stuff. My recommendation, after checking this all out, is all that paperwork that's in there, the old maps and stuff in the cemetery lots and all of that stuff should be removed out of there immediately and stored someplace else before water gets down in there and destroys that, and then you're gonna be up. Wish they should have moved it. So all that stuff should be moved. I don't know where you moved it, probably over here someplace, but it should be definitely moved out of that office as soon as possibility. So that ends it, but we have a meeting coming up here in March with the company again, Police and Vanberg company that we're dealing with. We've already met with them a couple of weeks ago, and our progress is we've got to make up a plan, drawing and stuff, and give it to them when they get back here and stuff, and they will take it, and their architect will figure it all out, line it all out, and probably come up with definitely with a price wise what it's going to cost for a new station to get built, and then we make the movement there. But movement is being made. I can tell you right now. Hopefully it continues to go that way and stuff. Fire department we're trying to work with the board to get this thing going, and like I say, if we get building station 1, get going and stuff like that, and we do have, if we acquire a mini pump and put into there, it'll be a little safer for the people in the township, but definitely you gotta have a fire station out there. That's why all 3 of them are in the different areas to cover the whole surrounding area of Bedford and stuff. Number 1 station, we took a survey out there one time here a while back, and the station 1 out there was the first one that usually gets onto the scene most all the time, in less minutes and time to be on there. I can remember driving a fire truck, the big ones, and getting over here or over in the west off of Washington before any one of the other stations showed up on the fire and stuff. So, we're all volunteers. There are a lot of them work, and you don't know what hours they work and stuff like that. So, but definitely you need a station out there. You cannot do without a station. If you do, your insurance is going to go right up. Right now, your classification is 4. It used to be 9. I brought it down to a 7. Now it's down to a 4 at the most down stuff. So you definitely need a station out there. You need all 3 of them to operate and go on and stuff. You have 20 men right now on the department. 20. I got 3 ladies on there. Gotta keep forgetting them. Anyway, they're there and stuff, and they're doing good. We got somebody got to go to class here for this year and stuff, for hours and stuff, but they know what they're doing. They're a good bunch of men and stuff, and you don't have to stand there and tell them what to do and stuff like that. They know when they get in there and they go fight the fire. They're not afraid and stuff like that. So that's where we are on that, and my recommendation is to go with this company, follow through with them, and see what they've got, see where we can go on that and do it now, not to wait no 6 months, 3 months down the line. You've gotta make a move now on it, because that station is in bad shape. I tell you, I don't, you know, we're gonna get into problems down the line if we keep using that, operating out of that station. So we need a new station out there to put those trucks in. Like I say, I've got 2 trucks and a boat out there right now. I cannot move them anyplace. Cannot go to this station, cannot go to the one on Morgan. I got no place out there to move them, so a station has got to be built. And then trucks can be moved out of there, demolition to the building if you want to. If you want to take some pictures of that building before it gets down, you better be doing it now in time of memory, because it's an old building. It's one of the old buildings that's been out there. You lost the old mill, which was built in 1855. You lost the old church out there that had to come down, and the new one built because nobody took care of it. Rotted out and stuff. You gotta maintain a building. You cannot let it go. And this one was let gone too much, too long, and no maintenance done to it, and now we have this, so. That's it. Any question?
Thank you, Chief. Keep the process rolling. Appreciate your presentation.
So do any board members have a copy of the police abandonment needs assessment?
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
I don't know where it's at.
The police abandonment needs assessment.
No, I haven't.
We need a copy of it. Every board member needs a copy of that. But I believe the fire department has it.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else? Item 11, unfinished business. So an update on our personal policy. Just want to tell us where you're at?
Well, I've been working with these 2 trustees, Venus and Greenwood. Talking with our attorney Seth, we've been reviewing documentation from 82 townships. And last we talked with last week, and Seth is working on bringing all those recommendations that we've made to him thus far to one document. So we should have that in the next couple of weeks or so.
Thank you. Mr. Side, roads update, I know just a brief.
Yes, I'll be very brief. We have not met since December, the last time that I was up in these presentation, or not presentation, but report. We are going to meet next week. Things are definitely moving a little bit slower than I anticipated. I think that than we all anticipated, but we are aware that the board is, looking to get some progress and get headway on that. I will, I guess, connect you and inform that I will start kind of, I guess, putting together a monthly report, I guess, and making it available to the board in the packet so that it's there, rather than just get up here and talk about what we've been talking about and doing. That way the information can be transparent and kind of flow through the proper channels, I guess. I definitely would say that I was not anticipating having to do as much reporting as an advisory committee. So moving forward, that's just something that we all should think about. I don't have a problem doing that, and should look for that. I'm sure that it gets to the appropriate folks in enough time. So it can be part of the packet, so that both you and the residents know what's going on as far as that goes. Mr. Frisbee had said, we had scored the matrix and got a project. I was not aware that we submitted for a project. We didn't even have supervisors to sign off on one. So unless Dennis signed off on one, yeah. So that may be we get some clarification on that. Could be one of the primary roads, I guess, maybe possibly that they're going to take care of. I will say that they did send me a list of the primary roads that they thought they were going to take care of next year. Township. Bedford did not have one on that list that they gave us, but that may have changed due to that excess funding that Mr. Frisbee referred to. So that's about all I have there.
What's the date of your meeting?
So I believe we're meeting on Dennis, is it Thursday?
Thursday?
Yeah.
Thursday?
Yep. 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Dennis, update on our resolution from January for recycling.
Recycling. Cycling at Bedford Township, is not gonna go, well, it's gonna have its challenges going forward. Basically, I've asked, told, the public that we no longer want to use their service. They have not been responsive to us at all. I've been in communication with several other companies, and, the driving factor for us right now is the cost. They're being more restrictive on what they will accept to recycle. They want more or less clean cardboard, they don't want old pizza boxes. A lot of the contamination was caused initially by, and I didn't know this until we started to investigate it, the wrong color lid on our dumpster outside. Don't quote me on this, but I think the black lid represents general refuse and the blue lid represents recycling. And we just recently.
Wasn't that's the responsibility of the company though, correct?
Correct, but we didn't correct it, or didn't tell them to correct it after we noticed that the refuse was going in there. So all of our stuff was going in, was getting contaminated. They were charging us contamination fees, which was more or less tripling what we were supposed to pay.
Okay.
We have tried other solutions. We have a lock bar. Trustee Hires asked me to investigate the cost of the fence. We have investigated signs. And again, it's not going to go forward without its challenges. One of the other options that was brought up by the public was to have curbside pickup, which would be a monthly thing, which would be approximately, as Mr. Syed said, $10 to $15 per month. However, that would be a hard sell, and I'm not sure if we have the capacity internally to do what they want us to do. What the public said we would have to do is to pay the entire bill first, and then bill the residents for it. And I'm not sure we have enough staff to do that, so again, challenges. But we are looking at other options, and I am open to suggestions.
So how long are the lids reversed? I mean, because the Republic employees would know the difference just by looking at it. My issue is that we're being docked for that.
Yes.
We should be recouped that money.
We are going to get some money back. We do have emails to reimburse us from September. I don't remember the exact dollars amount, but Joyce, do you?
I don't remember the exact dollars, that we are getting some back, but not what we should get back.
That's your initial offer.
Right.
It looked like about $900. Like $672 and $290, something like that.
We have blue lids on it now.
Yes, we have the correct list on it now, but we have it locked down, and we're just waiting on them to review it.
What's our quote on fence?
$50.
Right, we had a discussion on that.
Yeah, we discussed this all before. What good is a $5,500 fence to unless we pay somebody to sit out there by the fence while it's up? The problem is, and this is what Randy Johnson told us when we had it moved before, there was not one single dumpster ever taken away from here that wound up in the recycle center. Not one, ever in the city. I don't like it either. My family, we recycle every week. We just have our own containers in our garage, and we choose to drive to the recycle center every other week and dump them off. I don't know what else we have for an option. I don't think it's gonna work. We've tried it. Like I said, there's never been a single dumpster from the old time when we did it, and now currently. Not a single one has ever made it to the recycle center. All it takes is whoever that one person is that uses it as their personal dumpster to throw in a bag of refuse, and they cannot take anything out of that dumpster. That's why Randy ended it when he was our supervisor. I mean, you can keep cutting the fire, still fine. Unless somebody can get, unless somebody can get a volunteer to sit out there for free and monitor it, what other options do we have?
Well, that's kind of one idea, guys. There's one of our organizations that somebody would take that up and challenge, manage.
What is the closest recycling center other than the one Are there any necessary?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, marching up, the closest one is there on Lawrence. That's where I, you know, I got, wherever made garbage cans.
I do. So what he's saying about all the dumpsters that have been tried throughout the county, every
No,
one of them
I'm
gets
talking
rejected.
about just here.
Yeah, but it didn't matter where. Every one of them got rejected as contaminated. The county tried unmanned, even at the, to begin with, at the road department. It was dirty. We had to be separated again. So we went to the manned collection. When you go to the landfill, you dump it into one, they separate it, and there you go. So there are options. It doesn't make sense to keep putting containers out at a cost that the intent is to do recycling. The reality is it all becomes garbage because of the contamination. And it's unfortunate, but that's everybody's experience.
So you currently have a man set up at the Wells Park?
Yeah, at the road department.
And how often is that man?
It's on the county website. And I think it's 2 days a week.
Okay.
You can get
I have a flyer
passes
for
to
that.
the
Or we have a flyer for that in the clerk's office.
Yep.
That gives the phone number.
Yep.
So if anyone needs that.
and you guys can give passes to the.
They got rid of that program.
Oh, did they?
Now
Right.
it's you call the number
Okay.
that's on the form.
Gotcha.
And then they issue.
All right.
So ours is just information.
Thanks.
No, it's not, because it was also, I mean, I knew this in school, they taught us this back 20 years ago, but there's a marketing scheme behind the recycle thing, and so as soon as you stamp it on there, but you don't pay attention to the numbers on there, so there's like 100 and some odd numbers that could be exempt, but like 12 of them are recyclable. As long as you see that 3 arrows, you'll just put it in the bin, and that'll contaminate it right there. They'll only accept like 12 out of 90 of the versions. So you just, it's impossible. It's impossible even if you try. The other thing is like the pizza boxes, the cardboard. The cardboard's really easy to recycle. I mean, we could just get a little water, you know, it all breaks up. You can make a lot of stuff out. You can make fire bricks, you can make paper, you can do a lot of whatever you wanted with the cardboard. But it'd have to be more like a local initiative. Like if you relied on somebody else to do it, they're not gonna care as much as we would. Like we could handle cardboard recycling, not the plastic. It's too, you know, it's gonna take big machinery and not, who knows? It's just not cardboard. Cardboard's just wood pulp. Like we could do that, even a little bit greasy.
Well, I mean, there's a place you can post on walls that you get cardboard to every day, and that's ironic there.
Nice.
It's directly against the beach concrete.
And it does make more sense to do it all in one load. I mean, obviously, you're probably not just taking
Yeah, I mean, I
cardboard.
don't, to take a commercial load, then I'm sure you can stop anytime you want. If you could stop anytime you want, dump off your 20 cardboard boxes after Christmas or whatever.
Yeah, I
Well,
wonder.
now that everybody Amazon is probably every other weekend.
I wonder if we could like collaborate for like maybe well, see, if we did a cardboard collection station and then it's like, who's gonna run all that cardboard up? You know, the wind picks it up, it gets, you know.
Yeah, who mans it?
Well, you're gonna have one guy against 4,500 residents. So we're just outmanned unless we could get something commercial, really.
Or the curbside pickup.
Yeah, well, here's your other thing.
I'm not in favor, I'm just saying.
Not in favor either. Did talk about feasibility of it, it's terrible. Cause you've got, again, 4,500 residents, 4,500 households, and then you're gonna try to bill those guys every month. And the garbage service, what we've experienced is sometimes they don't pick them up, sometimes they do. But like, I can't imagine that like times 4,500. And like, they're gonna try to put me as the middleman, cause they just wanna like be easy and have us pay the whole contract for everybody and be like, you handle it, we get our money.
I also can't imagine the cost because we're out here where houses are 2,000 feet apart, not in a city where there's a house every 50 feet. I mean, the costs are gonna be exponentially higher here if you ever even considered doing that, which absolutely agree that it would not have a fun. Because in the city, it's not so much. You get mandatory what they're
But I mean,
qualifying.
I know what the charge is, cause you can, if you want, if you do a lot of recycling, I know somebody does. So they had two of the hurry curries, they had to pay for the one, it's $40 a year. But, I mean, yeah, we're not gonna get that.
We're not gonna get
I mean, if they said to us, okay, yeah, your resident mail is $40 a year, we'll drop off a blue curb dumpster, deal. That's, cheaper than the $8 I spent on gas.
How big is the curb dumpster? Is it the little blue totes?
No, the big ones with the lid that tips up, you
Oh,
wheel
okay.
up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
But
I was
if you,
talking Hurry Kirby's.
if you have to
That-
regulate that by way of ordinance, we're
Oh, no,
still
no.
cleaning up ordinances anyway, I don't wanna add
No, I don't
another
want
one.
that. I mean, no, if it was a price, if we could work out a price where, call and give me your address, they know you're from Bedford, okay, this is your price, we'll bring it out. Like I said, yeah, it's mandatory, they all get one, but if you want a second, that's why I know this price is. I'm trying to pay, it's $40 annually, and they get a second, because they fill them all up. Cause you put your cardboard, your paper, and your, like, you just said exactly, I think it's actually, I was told it was lower than you said, it's like, this number is 1 through 5. Anything over 5, they don't accept it at a normal recycle center.
Correct.
Which is, yeah, crazy.
It's purely a marketing ploy. It has been for 20 years.
Alright, so unless somebody wants to take it up, but AI is developing, maybe we could buy a robot to sit up there. It can happen, right? I don't think we want to go.
So, for clarification, we're working on recouping the money, have we switched from Republic then?
No.
We actually can't even get them to pick their bin up, even if we stop paying them. Yeah, it's still, can't think, I mean, they can't twist their arm. We might keep it, I don't know.
Kinda dying at this point unless somebody wants to take the mission, right?
How long before it's considered abandoned?
Yeah, we need to address the issue. Maybe you and I can discuss that later.
Sure.
Okay.
Alright, let's move on to petitions, new business. Resolution 28-2409, resolution 0208-2409. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve payments of expenses totaling $151,322.20.
Who moved?
Any discussion, Treasurer Clerk, anything to add?
No, I have nothing.
Ms. Hill? Alright, normal stuff.
Trustee Greenwood,
Yes.
trustee Dingman,
Yes.
clerk Baraco, yes, treasurer Miller,
Yes.
trustee Hires,
Yes.
trustee Bemis.
Yes.
6 yes, motion carried.
Resolution 0208-2410, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to set a budget to secure and implement a live stream account for all boards and commission meetings.
So moved.
Support.
So this idea's been kicked around forever and I keep hearing promises, but nothing's happened, so put it on the agenda so we need to act on this.
Cody did quite a bit of work, I understand, to try to do the research with the security company to make sure the cameras we have here and stuff, how they could be integrated, so.
So where are we at on that, Dennis?
It should be, oh, sorry.
Going, well,
Go ahead.
who's going?
Go ahead, Dennis.
We've been working with Night Watch, because at first what we were doing was we were going to, take, I was gonna say Home Depot,
Best Buy.
Best Buy. A lot of the equipment that we need to do what we wanna do, we already have.
Okay.
So we didn't wanna, spend the extra money. Been in contact with, Night Watch, what they're discussing with us is the possibility of dropping microphones, above the table or having, two microphones on the table. Because until we started to investigate this, we had one camera view that I was aware of. But there's like 7 or 8 in here, we could live stream that. And from the conversations with, Night Watch, what we could do is, with the live broadcast, we could set up a Teams meeting and set it up that way, and go to the YouTube video, that's how we want to live stream.
Okay.
So we're closer than what we think, but we just haven't bought the equipment yet. I was talking with her today. We had an appointment scheduled for Monday, but she never got back with me on the exact, microphones or other technology we may need. So it's a work in progress. Hopefully we'll have it up and running next month.
So how do we set the budget?
Have you got any money estimates?
I have no dollar estimates. That's what she did not get back with me.
I was wondering, and Joyce will know really good about this, because she has to categorize them, so she's pretty much the expert, but I was wondering if the township board category had anything in it. Let me see, we've got a budget here.
I think it has 30,000.
Is that for salaries?
No salaries at all, just for some of our technology services.
It's 23,000.
So if we have a budget in township board for 23,000, we'll take that much, so it'll be open-ended.
For what line item?
101.
Is it
820.
Yeah, well, that one says we've spent 23,000 out of the 35,000, but really we anticipate spending 35,000 out of 35,000 because that's how much the yearly contract is, so that one has zero to spare, that one's no leeway.
We're talking about township board or?
Yep, township board technology services, I believe that's the one.
Is it two different line items?
820 would be the one she referenced, and
So we factored in the yearly budget for that number is what you're saying?
So, so this year they wanted a payment, they've gotten 23,000 out of the 35 that we're contracted to. Right away.
So we have some room in that.
For that, no room.
Do we have a,
We've got, not attorney fees, 7,000 in office supplies, we probably shouldn't do that one. Let's do.
the other thing I was thinking of was Dennis's budget, he can spend 5,000 a month, can't he? Or he can spend up to 5,000 a month.
Yeah, without board approval.
So that's why,
Right.
if he should be able to work within that, the confines of that, within that budget.
Well, so that budget comes from somewhere, it's either the township board category, so the supervisor doesn't have anything in his actual
Yeah,
budget.
there's no actual line item to account for that.
Exactly.
Right.
So the line item has been contained up in the township board section. Unless you can find a spot, really township board's your only leeway. Building department fund.
I mean, but we could make a budget amendment for an increase in the
Okay.
township board, the 101, that you were referring to, Clerk Graffo with the 820.
Yeah, that would
For
be.
technology services, we could just do a budget increase there.
Seems like that's where it belongs.
Okay, that would be an appropriate thing to do. Without knowing the amounts, do you wanna do it now, do you wanna do it later?
I don't wanna kick it down the street, and
No.
pretty soon it's another month and another month.
Perfect, let's do it now. Alright, why don't we just double it?
Double,
Double it from 35 to 70.
I don't think you stick that
No.
much.
That's what I mean.
35? Okay, good. Okay, let's talk about lower numbers.
So, how much do you think we're looking at here? You're talking about mics, and then you're talking about, is someone gonna be manning this to live stream it from Night Watch? What does that look like?
That would look like, when Cody and I were having a conversation, we could set it up internally for a meeting then. So, when I was talking with, technology school, we were under $1,000 at that time. Well, take that back, under $2,000. I think that we could probably get it done for less than, $2,000.
For less than two?
2,000, this one.
Let's do 5.
Let's do 5. Okay. So we need a motion then?
Maybe.
Yeah. Then I will make a motion to increase, the budget for the general ledger under 101, 820, for $5,000 to accommodate live streaming services for township meetings.
Okay, we're gonna remove 5 from the contingency fund to account for that.
Alright, so our amending the motion to set the budget at 5,000, we need a date, so we can make sure. this is running.
We can do that in a second.
In a second motion.
No, I mean, that can be done like fast. What do you mean?
I just wanna make sure it's done, that's the reason I put it on the agenda. So do we need-
Oh, but we can amend it to say for implementation at the March meeting.
So you made the motion, would you like to
Yeah, so just additionally, for
By the
implementation
March
of
meeting.
services at the March meeting.
I want a deadline.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have motion made and support, so let's vote on the addition of the language to the motion. And you've got that on square?
Yes.
Okay, so, do I do voice or roll call? On the,
We can do roll call.
okay, so roll call, this would be to add language to the, for the $5,000 on the March deadline. So we'll vote on that first, and then if we have any further discussion, then we'll vote on the resolution. Everybody clear?
Okay, so resolution number is 2824-17.
Well, no, we're just putting this inside the motion.
Oh, in that one, okay.
It's just altering.
In the live stream budget,
It's
okay.
altering 10.
Okay.
Altering 10, pardon me. So,
Good, that's in
do
there. Okay.
the
I'm
motion
good.
inside the motion, resolution first.
Okay. Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
Clerk Bronco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
6 yes, motion carried.
So that alters the resolution. Anything else on this before we vote on it? And of course, it's gonna be the superintendent making this happen. Does that need to be in there?
Yes.
So,
I'm sorry.
what's that? We don't need that? Mark's good with that? All right. Anybody else? Erica, anything to add? Please.
Good. Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
Clerk Bronco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
6 yes, motion carried.
Thank you, everybody. By the March meeting, please.
Got it.
All right. Resolution 02-08-24-11, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford, enter into a contract with West Michigan Roofing and Construction for the repair service worth totaling $6,400. That's a move. Support, discussion. For what building? This?
This one.
And how many estimates do we have?
4, I believe. I did not include them in the packet, it was an oversight. On my part not to include those, I did, made the decision in consultation with, building official.
Mr. Hires, do you have something to add then?
Yeah, there were several of them that were trying to re-roof the whole, the roof is a standing seam roof and they're trying to re-roof the whole thing. Really not necessary. The problem was around the AC units that are up there, so this one was more refined. Some of the quotes were $70,000, so this was, really getting it down to the areas that's necessarily. Generally, standing seam roofs in an open area where there's no penetrations, they go on and on and on, don't leak, so it really is not necessary to try to re-roof over those or do that. So this was just in the areas that there were problems which needs to be dealt with.
We're talking about over there on the opposite where we've got water damage.
Yeah, that's why the water was there. There's 2 units up on the roof and they both had problems for a number of years.
So we do have documentation of other estimates.
We do.
So that'll get put in someplace then. And you folks over all of that and get comfortable. Anybody else? Ms. Miller?
No, looks fair, all the estimates. Looks good.
That's my question.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Clerk Bronco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
6 yes, motion carried.
Thanks for working on that, guys. Resolution 02-08-24-12. This is for accepting letters of protest from township residents for marches from the assessor's office. Whereas the law only provides for letters of protest for March board review for non-resident property owners. Passing this resolution allows residents in the township to protest by letter, and whereas Michigan compiled law MCL 41.181 gives the township board of review the authority to accept letters of protest for March 2024 board of review. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve the acceptance of letters of protest from township residents for the March 2024 Board of Review. That's a move. Support. Does everybody understand that? So Michelle, brought to our attention that this would make it more convenient for residents that can't get out to have the same rights as a property owner that doesn't live in the township. Does that make sense? Can she explain that? Any discussion? Okay.
Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Venus.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Damon.
Yes.
Clerk Bronco, yes. 6 yes, motion carried.
All right, resolution 0208-2413 for accepting a protest from Township residents for March 24th board review. This is for a date change. Whereas the Charter Township of Bedford holds board review protest meetings beginning the Tuesday following the first Monday of March, as provided by MCL 211.28-221.33, and may pass a resolution to allow for alternate starting dates for said meetings. And whereas the Charter Township of Bedford wishes to provide for alternate starting dates for the March 2024 Board of Review meetings, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Charter Township Bedford to provide for the setting of alternate starting dates for the March 2024 Board of Review. That's the So basically what this is that like inclement weather, something like that happens, then this gives her the ability to change the date, if something like that comes up, so more of a formality. She's not necessarily changing the date, but it gives her flexibility so that residents' voices can be heard if something comes up. You know, the air conditioner quits, your furnace quits, and you need to move, something like that. So that's what I understood that to be. Any questions, anybody? You know?
No, it's good.
No. Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Venus.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Damon.
Yes.
Clerk Bronco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
6 yes, motion carried.
And resolution 0208-2414, resolution to provide poverty guidelines. This has all been read before, guys, I'm not gonna read it unless anybody wants to volunteer. This is a thing we do every year. All your information is there for the poverty guidelines we provide for avoiding property tax. Does anybody want to?
I understand we have to do this every year, so it's available for the residents.
Yes.
Formality in this.
Yes. Bless you.
Well, Jeff, we got the new 2024 numbers from the government.
Yes. So the last line, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to adopt the guidelines listed above for the 2024 tax year.
So moved.
Support.
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Venus.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Damon.
Yes.
Clerk Bronco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires. 6 yes, motion carried.
Thank you. Resolution 0208-2415. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to conduct a review and recommend provisions in draft form for both medical marijuana and adult use marijuana licensing ordinances. Recommendation is to be reviewed by legal counsel and the Township Board of Trustees and for the next regularly scheduled meeting for final revision before a public hearing is set. I so move.
Support.
You want to explain this?
Yes, and the clerk might be able to help assist with this. They've changed the licensing for marijuana, you can now stack the licenses. The zoning ordinances are being reviewed by the planning commission. So in tandem, we have to review the licensing ordinance. The way that it reads, there's a slight loophole there. I don't think that the board was made aware of. At the time that it was drafted, it was new. Everything with marijuana was new. So we also had attorneys that didn't focus on municipal law. So we need to update the draft. We need to make it more comprehensive, and we need to specifically look at the number of facilities that we want in the township.
You're right, and the stacking has enabled it to get larger than it would normally have when we set the license number. We have a definite number, and now because the state has allowed stacking to where we may have just said we want 10, by stacking it can be 30 or 60. So it's stacking within the same facility, but we just need to make sure that we all understand that so it doesn't get away from us. And then maybe figure out some protocol with how to deal with this ever-changing marijuana.
And I thought when we originally wrote that we had factored in stacking and had made
So
a
they-
recommendation on number of licenses, not number of facilities.
So they changed things in the sense that when we started, you had to have a medical marijuana license to be able to have the recreational. But now they're not requiring that. So,
So what necessitates the sack?
They should get money. Should sell the license, right?
they're getting more for their money. They're getting more for their money.
I think it's so many plants per license, so if they wanna go, I don't know, in the hundreds of thousands, they'll need quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few licenses.
So we should be, I mean, it will make sense once we dig into it, I believe, and then make
Yeah.
some good changes.
And the planning commission is starting the process, and they're, Cody, as well as Chairman Stive, are both looking at what we had discussed is, the way you have it set up. You have buffer zones, for schools and churches. The new recommendation, they're gonna look at, what that would look like as far as diameter from churches, schools, what other things, parks,
Parks,
Um,
public service.
public services,
There's quite an extensive list.
yes.
There's 2 items on the list last time.
Mhm.
It's gonna be more than 2 this time.
Yeah,
It's
so,
just churches and something else.
So anything that's in is grandfathered? Or anything that's,
yeah, correct,
Okay.
yes. For zoning, yes. But we're looking at, 250 feet, 500 feet, and 1,000 feet around all of those facilities to see, what the buffers would look like and make sure that it's not exclusionary, and so the board can visually see what that would look like with the buffer zones, and then amend the licensing ordinance as well.
Anybody else?
Is there anything you want to add to that, Chairman Stein?
I mean, in the sense that this has nothing to do with the planning commission, but obviously, the board is talking about the police powers aspect of the licensing agreement. And specifically, the word facilities within that licensing agreement, that was brought up when we were doing the marijuana, conditional use. Was, how many of these facilities are allowed, and that is what is triggered this. So, I mean, the board has to decide how many of the facilities specifically, and that would be, so you have 3 different types. You have your processing, you have your provisional, and you have your grow. So that's what Trustee Green was referring to.
Yeah, so the planning commission is making sure that, we know what it would look like spatially, but the board is responsible for determining how many facilities we want.
Just, honestly, it just sounded like you were, I mean, you could have like substituted marijuana grow for like child molester at some point in that speech, so just be careful, because you're just a business. Like,
I don't think that the board has any issue with the business in and of itself. I think it's the fact that the marijuana licensing ordinances and the zoning ordinances both were amendment ordinances, and they're outdated. We're required to review them every 3 years, and so statutorily, we should be doing this anyway.
Yeah, it's a high degree.
I was just
It's
referring
changed a million
to the
times.
zones.
Yeah.
Anybody?
I'm done.
Alright.
Treasurer Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Hires,
Yes.
Trustee Venus,
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood,
Yes.
Trustee Dana,
Yes.
Clerk Baraco, yes. 6 yes, motion carries.
Alright, resolution 0208-2416, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to accept the recommendation of Superintendent McKinley to hire Joshua Mobley for the part-time position of code compliance officer at the hourly rate of $25 an hour. Support.
Second for conversation?
Mr. McKinley, would you like to present your candidate?
Present him?
You stand up or something, or?
Oh.
Do you have anything to tell us why you recommended him? Would you like to do that?
I had an opportunity, Josh, you mind standing up for the people who know you? Not Josh, there.
Thank you, Josh.
Had an opportunity to interview Joshua Mosley, another candidate. for the position of code compliance official. Mr. Mosley comes with code compliance experience, having 2 years with in Charter Township. I did have the pleasure of actually training Mr. Mosley for the position. Actually, I didn't bring him on, I just trained him. He was hired by the supervisor out there. Mr. Mosley does have extensive BSNA experience, and that's one of the things that I want to capitalize on. We have that system throughout our organization, and you know, I believe we're only scratching the surface. Bringing on an experienced candidate like Mr. Mosley will only enhance our chances to increase the opportunity to utilize the system better. We have a lot of functionality in the system that he's quite familiar with, and I'd like to exploit that. The other thing is, and lastly for me, is Mr. Mosley comes with ICC training. He has, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, 30 credit hours from ICC. So he has been trained both in the office, in the field, and by a professional, at least one professional organization.
ICC is what?
International Code Council.
Okay, thank you. Board members? So I know, okay, so background, superintendent and Ms. Miller and I sat in interviews with Mr. Mosley and Mr. Wolfsburg this last week. So we went through that process.
Mosley's got his letter of recommendation and something else in here too. What's that other? Did you guys see it? There's two things.
Yeah.
Verification and qualifications. That's what the other thing was. Okay. All right. So, between the two candidates, one of my concerns was double-edged sword on both sides, something that we have to consider and kind of navigate through. Some of our ordinance, for better lack of descriptive word, I'd call it crusty. They're from the 80s. Old school. A little bit old school. Some of them might not apply anymore. Really, the department needs an overhaul. So I caution actually hiring somebody to go out and execute some of our ordinances just based on the crustiness of them. I would suggest overhauling them before acting on the ones that we already have. So, we're in a weird spot here because Mr. Mosley's got a lot of qualifications, but like we don't have the ordinances to support him. Like he's actually better than what we can offer. Like I feel like there's a possibility that we might end up putting our blight officer in jeopardy because the ordinances are old and outdated and leaves a lot of room for error.
So we just updated the rental ordinance. I know the blight ordinance stands because that's upheld in court and that's what legal counsel uses, as well as dangerous buildings. I think in regards to blight, those ordinances aren't necessarily outdated, it's the other ones that we need to fix. Unless we can interject in.
Yeah, thank you. Our ordinances are a little confusing. What Treasurer Miller is talking about are the ambiguity in our ordinances. However, also in our ordinances, back in, I believe, 2015, we adopted the International Property Maintenance Code by reference. So that is a code standard that we should be interpreting at this point. Mr. Mosley has been trained by ICC, which is the International Code Council, making it official. A lot of municipalities, townships, all that stuff, had home rule or their own codes at one time. They wanted to make code inspections more universal, more professional. So they adopted the International Property Maintenance Code to standardize the process. So blight, long grass, inoperable vehicles, dangerous buildings I'll cover it in international property maintenance code with Mr. Lopez and Trey.
So I have a different thought. We have a gentleman that's in the position now. He's dedicated, he shows up. He can only do what he can do because he's not trained. He comes in, he gets his messages, he's dependable. He's old school in the sense that he goes and talks to the people to get them to clean up their blight. He's not issuing tickets, he's not taking anyone to court, but he's able to get a lot done just by talking to people. Just to talk to people and see what they can do.
So I'm way sorry.
So with that, I'm just not understanding why we are not training the person that's in our office to go forward. It's just
No, I don't know either one of them, but like I said, the International Code Council, ICC, and the maintenance codes are pretty specific on how to handle it. I just want to make sure that we have, whoever we end up with, we have someone with, can look at and make reasonable recommendations, because again, as I've told Dennis, we try not here to be draconian towards our residents. We want to make sure we help our residents. So whoever we hire, if they don't have that attitude, whoever that person is, I would not support them staying on. So I just want to make sure it's the superintendent's recommendations looking at here, and other people did the interviews. I wasn't involved in that, so I want to hope that the people that worked on this makes recommendations and adopts them, and I'll support those recommendations. But that person needs to, like I said, work with our residents. We're a veteran community, and we need to work with our residents, not try to punish them, but try to help them. And that needs to be the attitude.
So how long has our interim code compliance officer been working in this?
Since October,
And he's requested training several times, which shows me that he's invested in Denver. And that the intent of doing the interim position is to move forward for hire. So I know we have to interview, a multitude of candidates, but if he's already been invested in Bedford and he's showing that, I don't see any reason to hire another party.
My concern right now in this meeting is,
Well, let's board members talk first.
yes, sir.
Ms. Green, did you have more? Wait. Mr. Dingman hasn't had a chance to talk yet.
I had the same concern. I guess, quite honestly, I thought it was going to be repeating the same thing, said in a different way. I was thinking the same thing, what Ms. Greenwood just said. I mean, until tonight, I don't know what Mr. Mose looks like. I don't know what Mr. Wolfsberger looks like. I thought Mr. Wolfsberger had been in that position since September. Obviously, I was wrong, it was October. But I guess I was just a little perplexed why we were going through this if we had hired somebody already to serve as an interim. And I've been told several times over the past few months that he's asking for training. And then we did this process. I don't know, I guess I'm just being loyalty, and somebody that's showing up even though they're not getting the training they've been asking for, and now we're just gonna put them out to the curb. I guess I just need to know. It sounds very fluid, but that's where I am.
Yeah.
I need to know why did we bring him in on, just to go, okay, well, thanks, see ya. I don't get it.
Well,
Ms. Bill, you want to?
Yeah, sure. It is important to scope out multiple people so that you're just not putting like your friends in a position or with a little selection. But also, I just don't like the blight. I've seen some things I don't like. I still have to talk to you guys about some stuff before we go after blight for a minute.
and like,
Do you mean you see things, communities not being dealt with, or you don't like what we have?
I don't like the way we're doing it.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. So yeah, so possibly, so I really like Josh. Like, that was my first pick up until like, but I had about a month to think about it, 2 months to think about it, and I was like, yeah, Bedford needs, like, we need to clean some stuff up, but like, we're just gonna end up losing our butts in court. Like, we're not ready for that. Our ordinances aren't ready for that. We need to back up and see what we're doing for a minute. I gotta save the rest for later, but.
What's your name?
I would go with Wolfersberger because he's fresh. So, and this is an example. I got hired once as a nurse manager, as my first nurse manager position, because they didn't want somebody that was already a nurse manager and bringing habits with them in the new place. They would have to untrain me. And then I always remembered signing up medication books, and I like to put a circle around my name. But in that instance, bad habits, a circle means you didn't give the medication. So I'd have the manager come and like erase the stuff and sign over. Well, you can't erase anything, so she has to also. It was a pain in the butt. Bad habits die hard. So considering the fact that we've got to start basically from scratch, from ground zero, and that I'm not that interested in writing residents tickets and strong arming, trying to strong arm. I think as long as you said he hasn't been doing that and he's waiting for training and stuff like that, that would probably be the more careful way to go about it. A little bit slower than we were.
Any further thoughts before then? Anybody have any questions of Mr. McKinley?
Well,
ultimately, the recommendation was Mr. McKinley. So does anybody have any questions for the minutes?
I mean, I would like Mr. McKinley to interject. He was fine with speaking, just to hear him out.
Okay. 2 minutes, right? Do the turn to the 10.
Sorry. Here goes. We are here to evaluate or discuss the resolution about Mr. Mosley. However, the conversation turned to Mr. Wolfensberger, so if you guys don't mind, I'm going to address some of that. I've heard board members say that Mr. Wolfensberger has not been trained. I'm going to go and say that when Mr. Wolfensberger was brought on a temporary basis, I was told by the previous code compliance officer that he was going to be trained at DI. Secondly, I've heard several times that Mr. Wolfensberger has asked for training. He has not asked me for training. He asked me one time, and that was maybe a week ago. The training is coming up, I think in March, and he's asked me to go. That's the one time he's asked me to train. And I understand he's not been trained. But it was not my intention to not train him. I've known him a long time. Third, my first thought was, when we started to have this conversation here, my 2 minutes, was I was told that it's going to be about Mr. Mosley, and I said he has not, Mr. Wolfensberger has not asked me for training. And then, I'm sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot, Ms. Green. When you were asking about training, you turned to the clerk and asked her the question. I was the one to make the recommendation. I would be the one supervising it. Okay, I'm just saying that because there seems to be a misunderstanding on who we already report to.
Oh, no, I was just,
No,
information
I'm not attacking you at all. I'm just saying in general, because if you go around the table now, a lot of people are looking in other directions for where the training was supposed to come from. It's just come here. And so
which is why I gave you clarification to speak just now.
Thank you very much. That's my 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Board members, anybody else have anything more to add?
No. It was another thing too, is that if we weren't even sure if you could train a temporary employee, like you wouldn't want to start doing that, you know. So
Yeah, he had to wait to train, that's not a terrible thing. It was done on purpose.
Well, if there's just an interim person, then I would think that we would have to go through the process of interviewing that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to hire people without interviewing. So the process and the recommendation coming from the superintendent is perfectly appropriate.
Yes.
And that's why we hired the superintendent. If you can't pick, then we look at the superintendent.
We're ready for a vote.
Yes.
Everybody's ready for a vote?
Okay, trustee Hires,
Yes.
trustee Bemis,
No.
trustee Greenwood,
No.
trustee Dingman,
Say yes.
clerk Baraco, no, treasurer Miller,
No.
Alright, so that motion is,
so it's 4-2, or 2, yes, 4 no. Motion denied.
okay. So,
Can I ask you a question?
okay, Cal,
How many people did we have interviews for the process?
2.
4 in the beginning,
1.
and then it took a while, it kind of stalled out, so two were left in the end.
Okay, so I mean, we interviewed 2 people.
Yeah.
How long are we gonna take this conversation? I was side with the board whether we voted. I'm not gonna go outside and jump up and down and scream it out. But if the decision is not to hire Mr. Mosley, why don't we just move forward?
That's a good idea.
Are you proposing a motion, a
Yes,
separate motion?
then I propose that we hire Mr. Wolfsberger and get this moving.
That's a good
I
idea.
don't know how to say it, if I would say it a different way.
So am I hearing,
Sounds
you're
good.
making a motion and Miller's supporting it?
That sounds great.
Okay,
So let's clarify the motion.
right, we need compensation. Joyce, what do we need?
I would have to,
Okay,
Can I respond to what you guys are about to do?
well, we have a motion and support, we just need, just clarification. So at this point, we can, this one we have to vote on, we have a motion and support, we have to vote on.
You need to discuss it?
We have to format the resolution in a proper manner, meaning,
You can't have a discussion without
Hey.
formatting the motion first.
we don't wanna hire a full-time person at $1 million a year and we get a fresh fire truck.
so we keep the same motion except
Can we just change the name?
for the recommendation. For both.
Well, at this point, it's not his recommendation, because we shot down his recommendation, so that part wouldn't be part of the motion. The motion would be so Dingman's motion is to hire Mr. Wolfensberger for the code compliance officer,
Part-time.
part-time, at the same rate. What is he making now?
Yes, same rate. 25.
Well, that's already what he's making.
Okay.
You made the motion. Joyce, you wanna read it, see if he likes it, since he's the one who made it? Since she's the one that
Resolved by
seconded
the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to hire James Wolfersberger for the part-time position of code compliance officer at the hourly rate of $25.
Yes, that passes discussion, yes.
Ms. Miller, you supported, are you good?
Support.
So Ms. Miller supported that. All right, go around the room again, discussion, Mr. Hires.
Nothing bad.
Ms. Miller?
Yeah, I'd rather start out slow and be safe than just take off running. We're gonna get left in the dust.
Ms. Green?
I just say we give the gentleman that we have the tools necessary for the job, and we should be good to go.
Same.
I have the same statement. We need to get moving, but I would like to hear what Mr. McKenna has to say.
2 things. One, I'd like to limit the number of hours to 25 to 30 per week. Second, this reminds me of a situation where I came in and I was hired after the zoning administrator, Mr. Ugeti. Mr. Ugeti came in, being hired by the board, thinking he reported to the board. And when Mr. Ugeti got out of hand, he became my responsibility.
Oh, no, you don't like that? So this person would be working under you?
That's why,
Mr. Ugadi was working under me, but he never came to me. He went to the board, he went to other offices for his direction.
that's why the development of the personnel policy that we're
Yes.
working on is so important.
So we can, I mean, so you want to, and, you know, I support you on this, make sure that this person reports to you, period. If they're calling in sick, they're calling you. If they're, have a question on procedure, they're talking to you. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
However, still, I wanted to limit the hours on your guys' resolution, please.
So part-time, but do we have, I understand that, does our current operating procedures manual dictate what part-time is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything under 36.
But I'm hearing 20 to 25.
Yes,
I think it ought to be not a range, but give a top.
Did you say 20 to 25 or 25 to 30?
25 to 35.
So
Hours.
would you prefer that it's saying no more than 33?
Yes.
So my question here, and my caution on this, if we set in this resolution 25 hours or 30 hours, and next year he needs 32, then we have to, so I'm not in favor of that, because, this man's gonna be working for Mr. McKinley. He's gonna set his hours at what he says. That way, if 2 years from now, he needs 32 hours instead of 30, he's got the ability to do that. Makes sense?
So we're not gonna limit it, they're just gonna be at the discretion of Mr. McKinley.
What we hired him to do.
So that's what, isn't that what you're doing right now with him? His hours?
No.
No, okay.
So what are you doing now?
We put that in the resolution. There's up to the discretion of Mr. McKinley based on whether people need to work this. Statutorily, it already is.
It is, yes. I don't think we need it, I think it's just.
Okay, so we're taking the hours out,
No,
leaving the hours in?
we'd have to motion to change the resolution at this point. I say we don't need to. Mr. McKinley has the authority over top of the hired, employee, it's his route. So I don't think, he already has the authority to set those hours, I don't think we need to add it into the resolution. He just muddies it up.
Well, we haven't voted on the resolution, so we can still modify it.
Let me just ask. So the hours are not in the resolution?
Not as written, no.
Okay, that was the question.
And I say we don't add it.
Okay.
Part-time is a limitation.
Right,
Just to
yeah,
make it-
and that part is in there, that part is in there. I don't like benefits, so.
So I think a lot of these kinks we can get worked out in the personnel policy.
Yeah.
Instead of having, so in the recommendation of legal counsel was instead of having all of these individualized contracts, you address it in the personnel policy, which we know is grossly outdated. That's something that I'll write down that we discuss.
Trustee Green, you're absolutely correct in what you're saying. And I think I was being a little too detailed in what I was trying to get in the resolution, so I can back off of that.
But we will address it. It still needs to be addressed, but in a different document, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Everybody good? Question that part. Quick profit.
Trustee Bemis?
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood?
Yes.
Trustee Dingman?
Yes.
Trustee, or, excuse me, Clerk Baraco? Yes. Treasurer Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Hires?
Yes.
6 yes, motion carries.
Is that a motion or a resolution?
Resolution.
So 17?
6, yeah, 19, 18. We use 17 up on the, use 17 on the budget.
Oh, you got straight.
No, it's 18.
Okay. Public comment time. Mr. Coopersmeyer, could you slide that podium out if anybody wants to talk?
I got it.
You got it? Anybody wishing to address the board? Mr. Side?
I'll be quick. There's a lot of things that I think can be clarified or should be clarified. I guess let's start with the recycling. Sounds like we just punished. Sounds like we didn't try anything different than what we did when Randy was the supervisor. I get that it's a problem. You know, I don't understand why we couldn't get a fixed number on the fence. You got security cameras, hang up the sign, we have a littering ordinance, you know, it's a $50 fine probably or some crazy thing, you know, put on the sign, you know, don't be a jerk and ruin it for the rest of the residents. You know, there are residents that have been to the planning commission meetings that expressed how they liked the ability to have that back down to township. I understand it's a struggle, but we didn't try anything different in the first time. So I don't understand that. As far as the, you know, the position that we just, you know, hired and we're hiring somebody else or whatever, you know, when did we post for that? 4 months ago? 5 months ago? 6 months ago? You know, we had four applicants, Erica says, and we have 2 applicants. I mean, yeah, we should have reposted to see if we can't get more applicants, if the quality of the applicant was in question. And I'm always in favor of giving the people that are here working in the township the tools that they need, whether it's training, assistance, access to X, Y, and Z, and all that other stuff. As far as, you know, we heard about, you know, our blight ordinances and this, that, and being crusty. I am almost 100% positive that part of the McKenna deal was that they were going to work with code compliance and clean those up. And we didn't have any discussion about that. And so, you know, I mean, I mean, we're not using the tools and instead of using the people that we have in place effectively. You know, I mean, that's frustrating as a resident. And that's what I am right now. I'm a resident. I'm not the planning commission chair. You know, we set a part-time hours, you know, I mean, do we have any statistics of how, you know, are we going out and looking for blight? Is there a lot of blight calls? You know, to Erica's point, you know, I agree with the hires as well. We don't want to be just going after residents for, you know, X, Y, and Z. I mean, is that the kind of community we want? No, I don't think so. You know, but what kind of workload does this person have? I mean, we were about to hire somebody and then, you know, with no statistical factual data. And that drives me crazy. Drives everybody crazy. You know, I think those are all things that you know, are relevant. You know, I understand that, you know, we're all about the written reports, but
I think we're straight. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Marie Kerwin, Foxbury Lane. I'm going to agree with Mr. Steyer. What I heard tonight on resolution 216 and then 218 resolved, I don't think it was resolved. When did we start making decisions without, again, 4 people were interviewed? Again, why didn't we post it for more people to come in and get interviewed? Post it more months. I haven't seen a post. I look on your website quite a bit. I haven't seen no post for the position. Who hired this young man? I call everybody young man. I've seen him in the office. I didn't know he was our blight young man. I didn't even know Mr. Mosley was here tonight until I saw him. So, you guys are up here and you're discussing it in front of us residents. Can you do this behind closed doors and make this vote?
No, it's a violation of the code.
I'm not asking a question, I'm just making a statement. Because you guys are doing this, and then Trustee Greenwood, again, is looking at other people, and then superintendent's not happy, and then pointing fingers, and then there's talking in the background. But again, post a position so people can come in and apply for a position. And then do training. And yes, I'm a resident. I've been here over 20 years. And it doesn't sit well for a resident to come to these meetings, and you guys aren't addressing the blight. Again, Mr. Stipe says, are people calling about blight? Are people complaining about things? I'm sure the ordinance guy, or, I mean, not the ordinance, but the compliance people are busy. 30 hours, 32 hours, is that enough time for them to do their job? I don't think so. Because I do see blight. I don't come in here and say anything, because what's being done about it? And I don't want everybody to get a ticket. Do your job. That's what we're paying our taxes for. Post the job next time.
Thank you, Ms. Curley. Anyone else? Mr. Brittany?
I did want to correct my statement, and Mr. Stipe was right. You did not have any local road funding, so thanks for pointing that out. So I went back and found it. Penfield had 10%, Marshall had 18%, or Marshall Township, Marengo Township 7%, Leroy 17%, Fredonia 10, Emmett 5, Eckford 4, Congress 4, Clarence 4, Athens 10, and Albion Township 11%. And that was of the original 1.5 million. And since we've added another $500,000, but I don't know that those have been considered from the list that remain. So I'll let you know. Thanks for putting it up with.
Anyone else wish to address the board? Mr. Van Gogh?
Peter Van Gogh, 650 Liswood Avenue. Oh, first off, it sounds like establishing who has what duties. It's a new position, but it sounded like tonight it was ill-defined, and I did feel a little embarrassed to have the gentleman here. Probably anticipating getting the job and hearing that discussion, but anyway. I promised my wife I would try to make nice with you people. Anyway, I've been coming the last few coffees, first I'd like to recognize the next monthly meeting, we will have a supervisor, apparently. I don't see anyone here. I haven't seen them coming. Cool. Shows how high we rate. The coffee conversations, I was happy to meet the former supervisor, Tom Sproul, and got to talk with him a little bit. We got excited once again about water and sewage. It's funny because when I first started coming to these meetings to try to annex into Bedford Township, there was a trustee that kept saying, where I lived, it was mandatory, it was required to be connected to the sewer and water. And here it is, almost 8 years later, and I'm still not connected to sewer and water. So I don't know how mandatory that could be. That guy went on to become supervisor, and he's one of the missing candidates for the end of this month's election. Since I'm on that subject, I'm going to finish it off because the table used to sit over here, and that same trustee stood right over here, and he said, I see Bedford Township as Mayberry RFD. And I had to wait a month to come back to kind of retort to that. I said Mayberry RFD was a crappy spinoff from the Andy Griffith Show, and it only lasted for 2 seasons. And when I was a kid, I asked him, because I remember when that show aired, I looked at my older brother and I said, what does RFD stand for? And he said, Rat Smart Den. I later found out in social studies it was rural farm delivery. But, so that, I actually came over here to want to talk about water, because I got excited about water again. But I don't think he's going to go anywhere, because I got to compete with Chief Coker's barter. But I did a lot of calling. I talked to a couple of supervisors of townships in Michigan. Both of them went through some serious water issues in their own townships. One was Acme. The reason I called the guy that's a supervisor of Acme Township, anyway, later days.
Anyone else? Mr. Hunter?
Yes, so congratulations, I feel is in order. It was the correct decision. You didn't get it very often from this, take what you can, I guess. The fire department, the fire station, that's been that way since I was here. At the fire station. I'd like to know, I guess we really need to understand, why did Policeman Vanderbrink go in doing that? Was it a bid process whatsoever? Because I can tell you that the process that happened when I was here was, I had someone that I was introduced to that was coming through the area that inspected that. Joyce knows, because I talked about it with her shirt. And they inspected that fire station because they rehab old buildings. That's what they do. Billions of dollars of rehabs. They were doing an old church in Detroit and one in Chicago, and he came and had lunch with me. He went through that building. He knows from his experience that that building absolutely can be rehabbed. It absolutely can be salvaged for something for the community. We also have enough property around that, the barn behind and some other things, that something else could be built to make it more of a fire station, something that could be usable for the community right there, and salvage some of our history. I don't know why all of our buildings, I have fear what things have gone on in some of these buildings, the atrocities. Something is being hidden, it seems. Why we need to destroy all of the buildings in our community. But that is absolutely salvageable. So what happened then is all of a sudden Fleece and Vanderbrink out of nowhere. No money paid, no money approved by the township. Somebody got them to go and do a write-up and say that that building is not salvageable. So I think we need to, I hope someone will investigate and find out who approved that money, who gave them the go-ahead to do plans, who gave them any of this, because we don't have the planning. We still don't have a complete capital improvement plan. Now we're going to talk about building an entire building for our fire department. When we don't have a single capital improvement plan that they fully should have after we were told we would get it the month after we had an increase in the budget. That was many years ago now. So I'm not sure still why these things get snuck through or pushed through like they do, but it needs to stop. It really needs to stop.
Thank you, Mr. Hickman. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, question for some improvement. Mr. Hires?
No.
Ms. Greenwood?
Yes, just.
You need me to come back to you?
Yeah, come back to me.
I'll put you on the spot, Mr. Powell.
Well, it's not putting me on the spot.
Your time.
The only thing I want to address is, I guess I just about had it. It's enough with following my mom's rules, sitting here. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. I'm getting tired of hearing from the same person about when he was here and he did this. First of all, that was the hardcore center of the language on the recall. You weren't here. They kept track of your hours. You maybe showed up 8 to 10 hours, which is why you were recalled. You would run in before the meeting up to Joyce. What do I gotta know? What do I gotta know? We all saw it. Aside from threatening to female employees, I'm not really sure what else happened. Yeah, you can rehab anything if you want to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for a building that's useless. It's too short to get a Super Duty pickup into these days. You sure as heck aren't going to get a full-size fire truck into it. So just to pay an exorbitant amount of money to make something a historical landmark, I mean, somebody wants to donate $1 billion, sure, we'll do whatever you want. But we're going to be realistic. We need a fire station. We need a place to put equipment, fight fires, to save residents' homes. And I'm tired of hearing from somebody that I did this and I did that. If that person did a quarter of what they claim to have done, we wouldn't have had to recall them. And that's what we should put. I stand up here, formally recalled supervisor. So I'm gonna say it every damn meeting. Thank you.
So my stuff, you guys talked about, how is blight, taking care of blight is complaint based. So a resident has to complain, we're not just driving around with a vehicle to determine what's blight. Residents complain, we respond. And that is gonna, I think that maybe wasn't done exactly like that in the past, but it will be going forward, that's our focus. That's what our ordinance is. So we're not looking just to tell you that you've got problems, and that's, we're not doing that. No, we can't discuss behind closed doors. That's what we do in a meeting. Interviews, stuff like that can be done behind closed doors, because that's how it's done. You know, the superintendent, does those interviews, and Eric and I sat in on that, but it can't be done behind closed doors. The true beauty of this board, compared to other boards that I've observed over the years, is that not everybody's always happy, and not everybody agrees, and that's how it should be. We're sitting up here conducting business on behalf of the residents. Sure, the gentleman sitting in the room thought he was getting a job. He was recommended for it, but ultimately it's the elected officials that you folks voted for that make that final decision. So the process worked like it's supposed to work. Fire station project's been kicked down the road for how many years? Too many years. I haven't been a part of it, but it's finally time to draw a line in the sand and get something done. I appreciate Chief putting together a presentation. And the fire department needs to know that the board's behind them, and we've got to go through the steps to get that station taken care of. It's long too many years that it hasn't been taken care of. If it's been condemned since 2017, shame on other folks that haven't got it done. So I appreciate Mr. Kobe's part of putting that presentation together. And the other thing is, it's not for this board to sit up here and decide how many 2x4s for a fire station. They know what they need. I don't know what they need. I build a nice pole barn they park the trucks in. But the fire department will tell us what they need, and the board can adapt and change that with their approval. Maybe there's room for a community room, I don't know. But we have a conversation started, and we're gonna see it through. That's the commitment we've got right now.
Just to add to the fire department discussion, there were some questions asked for clarification. Police and Vandenbrink did a needs assessment on fire station 1, 2, and 3, I believe under William Scott. I know I checked into it, we did pay for it. We do need a needs assessment for the fire department. I think there is confusion in that people think that the fire department needs the capital improvement plan. No, the Charter Township of Bedford needs the capital improvement plan, which includes the fire department. It's a full comprehensive scope of the needs of the entire township. And that seems to be lost on everyone. It's not on the fire department, it's on the board, it's on the community, it's on Bedford as a whole to have a capital improvement plan. As far as recycling, I'm sorry, I don't have a good solution for that. And in regard to the hiring process, we brought up the ordinances, and I kind of felt like we were getting on a side quest when we really should be talking about interviewing the candidates. Jobs are posted. We can't speak as a group behind closed doors, like Barry said, because it violates the Open Meetings Act. So, I mean, the good thing about that is you're going to see the other conversations, you're going to see the disagreements, and that's what you want to see. You want to see people representing every scope of your community. We're not always going to agree, we're not always going to get along, but we're going to have an open discussion in front of the community and hopefully come to a solution for you. And that's all I have.
Miller or Ms. Ruffalo, who wants to go first?
Erica.
Sure. I like the live long and die hard attitude about the recycling, because I actually did give up on it, and then you spark a little ember again. I like that. I like not to give up on stuff. It just made me think of maybe starting smaller, like maybe start with the cardboard only, because cardboard and plastic's too complicated for most anybody. So why would we even try to go there? But we could probably handle cardboard. Like we could take a small bite out of it. We could do something. Just so something to think about. And then the other thing is, when we were talking about with hazmat earlier, there is on my tax counter there's a white piece of paper with a little blip up in the corner of it that actually talks about the tax petition that's gonna go around. I don't know if we're gonna see them in our area or not, but that they are trying to collect signatures to put squashing the taxes on the ballot. That they actually are gonna try to do that. And like I said, other states do that too. We'll just have to work out how they're gonna do it. But it's interesting. Just a neat little read. Taxes are almost done. I've still got about 1,200 places out, so I'm expecting about 200 people a day for the next 5 days. If we get them all in, it won't be that bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. It is hard to have conversations, but they're right. We're not. You do want to see our personalities, our demeanors, who is representing you. You don't want us to do this behind closed doors, because when it comes time to vote, you're going to want to boot the person that doesn't represent you well. I mean, that's your right as an American. Absolutely. So, I mean, you're not going to know that unless we have those discussions out here. So, it's meant for you guys. It's ugly sometimes, you know, ouch, but yeah, it's the requirements. Yeah. And that's all I got.
Don't you have a date coming up when everybody needs to come see you?
February 14th, you're right. I don't remember this.
It would be your Valentine's?
Yeah, Valentine's Day's last day for tax season. Yeah, well. I usually have a little chocolate on the counter for you. Something.
We always have treats.
Always have treats, and there's still calendars left if anybody needs one. They're still on the counter too. So, thanks, guys.
Mine is about voting. So right now we have 912 ballots that have been issued. Of that, we only have 240 returned. So we're just 26% have been returned, which is low. Early voting starts a week from Saturday on the 17th, and that's at the Cole Center in Battle Creek. So it's perfect for those who want to vote, maybe that you might want to take a little bit longer, or we have a great parking lot. It's on your way. If you're running an errand, you can just pull in there and vote. It's open every day from 8 to 4, including Saturdays and Sundays. That's what I got. The next election is February 27th. From 7 to 8. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. The early voting starts a week from Saturday on the 17th. And runs until Sunday before election, the 25th.
What do they need to vote? Just ID?
Yes. Oh, okay. Or if you don't have it, you can sign an affidavit. But ID.
If we forget, where will you look on the information?
There are flyers on the counter. There's an ad in the shopper today. It's on our website.
County's website as well.
Yeah. Our website clicks to the county.
All right.
Yep.
So we're at adjournment. Next meeting March 14th at 7 p.m. Thank you, everyone.